right. Hello and welcome to this episode. Today I am joined by my good friend Mark Treen. Hello, Mark. Thanks for coming.
Hey, Phil.
And today we're going to learn a little bit about his journey, what the impact of glass has been for him, and maybe throw in some hints for people who are looking to start and maybe go after a similar path that he has landed up on, and just see where this goes. So, um, can you tell us a little bit about your background, which I think is a pretty cool one, and how cameras came into your life and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess most important is when I was 18, I joined the Navy, and I did the nuclear Navy for 20 years, pretty much. So nothing to do with anything artistic or anything like that. Um, but when I got married, I got a point and shoot that had manual and TV and on it. So I took thousands and thousands of pictures ever since 2003 on that little thing, and I played with all the settings. So it was just naturally to my eye, just capturing what is aperture, what does shutter speed look like, how can I be artistic with those things. When I was for all the way since then, and then 2008 was a big time. I had my first or had my son, and my mom actually gave me her Canon 20D with a box full of lenses, and I had no idea how to use any of it,
Hmm.
and I was overwhelmed. So I decided, with my technical background, I was going to learn what all the settings were and how to do everything. So I really dived down into just the technology of a camera to figure out, how do I shoot a manual, um, and what do all the lenses do, and I guess a really fun journey I had was somebody challenged me to put on the 50 1.8 aperture lens, and I spent a year with that on my Canon 6DD now at this time, and just took thousands and thousands of pictures at 50 millimeters, um, and just to have my eye kind of accustomed to what that looks like.
The Nifty 50.
The nifty 50. It was a nifty time. Yeah. Just, yeah, just everything was at 1.8 at first.
Yeah,
It was so amazing. And then I eventually realized I don't have to shoot at 1.8 just because it's a 1.8.
that is so much fun.
Yeah.
So
Um,
that camera that your mom gave you, I don't even know, is that like digital or is that like old
oh
school?
yeah, the 20D, it's a, what's it called? Not a full frame.
A crop
Um,
sensor.
yeah, yeah, crop sensor, but it's not. It's like above a Rebel, but it's the predecessor to the Canon 60D.
Okay.
So it's four generations before that.
Wow. So, um, at that point, were you using film, like photography, in the Navy?
So it wasn't until 2013 when I stopped working on submarines, and I had the very odd um, chance to photograph an event for the Navy, and they decided I probably should do that instead of what I was doing. I was way better suited at that. So the last 3 years in the Navy, I actually got to be a photojournalist, which I'm terrible at writing stories, but I was really good at taking pictures of events and telling good news stories about just because I was really positive attitude toward the Navy, and I knew that the area really well, the submarine base really well. So I got to do that for 3 years. So if you guys are interested, just do a search for EM1 Mark Treen on a photo search in Google, and you can see some of the pictures I took. It was an amazing time working with a couple people that had been doing that their whole lives, a professional in the Navy and a civilian professional that taught me basically, photojournalism, event photography, and that was just absolutely instrumental for everything that I do now.
Wow. So, I think a huge point maybe for anyone getting started is just the love of camera and taking photos. You know, you getting to that point, you were just practicing your craft
Yeah.
like a ton.
And it moved around a lot. It started with just, macro with a little point and shoot.
Hmm.
I used to love to play with that. My mom really encouraged me. She was really into photography, she still is. And then in 2008, when I got the Canon 20D and a baby, I started getting into portrait photography.
Yeah.
And then with the Canon 60D, playing around a lot with Magic Lantern and stop motion and things like that, I got into landscape photography. And it was fun just journeying through all those different types of photography. And when I started to try to think about monetizing it as I was getting out of the Navy, I started seeing that really taking pictures of people is more of a need. I did some monetizing of landscape photography, and it was fun doing craft shows and things like that. But as I started getting into portrait photography, I started learning from really a master of senior wedding photography, and just started to formally mentor under a master, and started learning senior and wedding photography. And I don't know if you want to tell me, you want me to get into the journey of where I'm at now, that kind of that last step as I retired.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
yeah, so I was trained to be a wedding, formally trained to be a wedding and senior photographer. And I was touring around the PPA imaging booths, just looking at all there was. Just this was 2 years before I was going to get out of the Navy,
Hmm.
back in 2014, and I just came across this crazy booth of all these people wearing purple shirts. And I always was naturally gifted to just really enjoy kids, and I saw it was a franchise that they were selling. So you could be a franchise owner of taking preschool pictures.
Okay.
So not anything I was trained to do, not anything I had thought about doing. But as I talked to the one of the founders about the monetization part of it, his numbers just really, really resonated with me. I had done a lot of research in just the business side of photography and figured out what does it take to be profitable? How do I market my pictures? How do I price them? All that stuff. And they had all of that really, really figured out. It's just a wonderful, wonderful business model. So if I can advertise anything for anyone listening who loves kids, and is interested in doing this either part-time or full-time to monetize, I would highly recommend you looking at the franchise Spoiled Rotten Photography. If you're interested in taking pictures of kids, of preschoolers, it's just an amazing, amazing business model that really changed my life, because they had every aspect of it completely figured out, and I could just step into a fully flushed franchise. Um, and the biggest part of it for me as a dad about to retire, and knowing that I had a 3-year old that if I had stayed on submarines, he would have really missed me a lot. But I wanted to get out and be around for him. And with wedding and senior photography, that's mostly, well, it's not mostly, it's all on the evenings and all on the weekends.
Right.
And it's really heavy during the summer for weddings. And that was okay. But this franchise only photographs about really from 8 to 12, Monday through Thursday, or Tuesday through Friday, which is absolutely ideal for having at that time a 4-year-old and a wife who's a teacher at a public school. It works just wonderfully. Have my summers off, have my Christmas breaks off. I don't photograph at all on the weekends. So I don't know, if I was going to give advice, I would say, as you're looking at monetizing, make sure that you're going toward a field that works for your life, your lifestyle. Make sure it matches. So if you have a couple kids at home, stuff where you're always gone on the weekends might not be the best business model. There's lots of different ways to monetize photography if that's what you're into.
Yeah, that is so awesome. I mean, um, probably a lot of people who don't even know that's a thing. You know, there's so many different avenues that you can go with this. In high school, I mean, I never knew that real estate photography was a thing. Like, if I could go back in time, that's what I would do, and do this right out of the gate from high school. But that's awesome, and yeah, it really sounds like you're able to kind of just plug in and go with that system, which is a beautiful thing. They've taken away all of the nitty gritty and the details of it, and you just get to do what you do, which is interact well with kids and take photos, which is so cool.
Yeah, there's another great resource that basically showed me that franchise was a great model, but it could have led me in a different direction. So PPA has just absolutely amazing resources. And I'm not even a member anymore, but if you're getting started, I highly recommend becoming a member and getting into their community, which I can't even remember what it's called now. But the amount of conversations I had in there, that's where I met my mentor. That's where I basically learned everything about photography that really is sticking with me till now, is the community in PPA that really is, you know, you can find a community on Facebook that you can post a question and you'll get answers. But this is a community where you get the actual masters giving you advice, and they're accessible to you
Mm.
in every single field of photography you can imagine. Obviously, you're an expert in real estate, and you know you could get into a franchise that is an expert in whatever niche there is. But being a member of PPA, just, I mean, it gives you access to so many resources. Most importantly, just all the other members that are really engaged in that community.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to steal some links that I can post for everyone to check out. Um,
Yeah.
so, I mean, you'd never had any formal training though, right? Like it was basically all mentors and shadowing people, right?
Yeah. I mean, when I bought the franchise, there's a week of mandatory training with the Spaldron Photography,
Uh-huh.
where they teach you everything you need to know to be successful. I went in as a, you know, I wasn't a certified photographer at that point, but I very quickly afterwards became a certified photographer through PPA. So
Okay.
I had the technical part of it down, but I've never taken any college classes or, you know, anything like that.
Yeah. I just think that's so cool. You know, like just, what is it? Patterns that I'm seeing are, you know, just practicing, right? Like just using that equipment. I still have this little like pink Canon. I think it's a power shot or something. Like I
Yeah.
remember using that in real estate in 2004 and just thinking like, this is the coolest thing ever. And I'm like the best photographer. But then the importance of, you know, finding people that can just show you like what to do in the field is like the biggest. It's invaluable. Like I had a couple people show me, and I'm so glad, you know, I did that versus like going to college or something for it, because I learned everything there, and the rest was on the job training. I mean, that's, I feel like, where everything else that you need to know happens. um
Yeah,
can you
absolutely.
can you walk us through like what a shoot day looks like for you, like one of your scheduled days?
Yeah, absolutely. So there isn't a lot of prep the night before. Morning of, I'll get up pretty early, 5:30 or so. I'll load my vehicle. I have a checklist. I guess I charge my batteries the night before. But yeah, drive to the preschool morning of. Show up about 6:30 or so we can start photographing. I don't say shooting around a preschool. Start photographing about 7 or 7:30, and we'll set up our set. We have a set that fits in the back of any kind of vehicle with a backdrop, three lights, um, and the good thing, yeah, is is I'm not artistic in design of sets, and it's all pre-done for me. So I just put all the setup the way they show me, and I start photographing about 8 o'clock with an assistant, and I'm photographing about one child every 15 minutes or so, pre-signed up children.
Uh-huh.
And by 11:30, 12 or so, we're done. The kids are, either needing to take naps, or they're grumpy, or they're wanting to have lunch. So kids are kind of done getting photographed by then. And after 4 hours of photographing, I'm beat. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's high energy photographing, um, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, which is great. I'll pack up with my assistant, pack up my vehicle, I'll get a big lunch because I burn a lot of calories,
Yeah.
and I'll come home, and if I'm feeling really energetic, I'll upload them all into Lightroom and just start the process of getting them out to our website so parents can start ordering them.
So are you doing any editing then, or?
Yeah, for this business, you can get other business owners to edit, but most of us, or you can hire an editor if you have enough schools. Editing actually is, I would say, more enjoyable to me than taking pictures, which is really weird. But I really like technology, so um, I really, I actually took the time to become a Adobe certified expert in Lightroom just because I love it so much.
Oh, wow.
Uh, yeah, but so yeah, I'm doing all the editing, and I'd say on average a day of photographing, I'll take 800 pictures, and I'll cull them, and edit them, and it takes me between 2 and 4 hours for those pictures if I'm going working really hard. So really, by the time my wife and child gets home, if I worked hard, I'm done for the day of photographing and editing those pictures.
Nice. That's awesome. Um, Anything come to mind as like the craziest kid or funniest experience or like grossest or
Um, I can't think of anything grossest, but I love getting kids' personalities. So when they come up with something crazy, I just go with it.
uh,
So a kid just a couple weeks ago brought a lizard on set, and she was so proud of this little, green anole. So I'm like, he's in the photo shoot. We took portraits of that green anole. I did shallow depth of field, and everything I could think of. And if the child is into something like that, I guarantee you that it's because of an influence from the parent, and the parent loved it. She emailed me. She bought the pictures. So little things like that. I can't think of something crazy that's ever happened, but little things like that happen every time. The child will just come with some weird prop, or some off the wall comment, or something. I just roll with it because it's the child's personality,
yeah.
and parents really like that. So it's really fun.
And is that kind of is that your payment, that email from the parent saying thank you or these are awesome? I mean, is that the big reward?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, when they buy the pictures, that's the big reward. But no, I mean, like the parents that they'll ask me to take a picture with a frame that is that child's picture, holding a frame of them being a baby, if that makes any sense. So it's
Oh,
like photo inception. And when that picture that's framed is my picture that I took the year before, of them holding a frame, of them holding a frame, of them a baby, it's really, really rewarding. And so I took that child's, the third time coronavirus happened, and I took the child's picture and had to Photoshop everything backwards, if that makes any sense.
yeah.
So it's really rewarding to just realize the longevity of what we do. And when the moments happen when you realize that, and you realize that your pictures are a keepsake that that person will cherish, for their whole life. That I'd say that's I'm very rewarded in that. And I love looking at the back of my camera, the first photograph I take on a set or when we do some stuff outside, and everything just comes together. The lighting is working, the distance of the subject to the background, little things I set in the background I know will be out of focus, and I just hope will work, and it works. The child has a smile that's genuine, and everything is just, all the stars are aligning on that first photograph where I'm editing and the first one pops up on my screen. That sense of wow, I kind of actually know what I'm doing, and this is all kind of working. And if I was a parent, I would actually buy this because this is really, really good.
Yeah.
That's very, very rewarding, is to be good at something, and for the thing to be enjoyable because you're not stressed while you're doing it because you've had the training, you have the background in that, and everything's just clicking. That's really, really fun.
Literally clicking.
It's clicking, yeah. Pun not intended.
Yeah, I mean that I think just hits on the impact of glass right there. I mean that kid
Yeah.
photo being in someone's home, like I know in my parents' house there's a wall of them. We've got, I think each kid has like kindergarten and then the senior picture. So
Right.
those are still sitting there, and that's, to be a part of that, that's awesome. So that's a really cool thing. I mean, has there ever been like just a kid who showed up, like then they were just like a hot mess, like
Oh, there's not ever a time when there isn't a child that shows up who's a hot mess. And to be honest, I really take it as a challenge to make every child um, comfortable to the point of laugh. I want them to be comfortable to the point of laughing, and that does not happen all the time. So when a child comes, it's a really, really big challenge. Maybe the parent emails me ahead of time and say this child's autistic, they can't handle flash,
yeah,
and I get to work through the technical part of taking a photograph on a set that's designed to have 3 flashes.
right,
How do I take it without flash?
right,
And then, the background of knowing what is it about my mood that's going to set that child off or is going to make them feel comfortable, and judging that when they come onto the set. And then just when to turn goofiness on and when to turn it off to get those kids that are the biggest challenge, to make that work. That's really, really fun. But yeah, man, they come on. The ones that are the biggest challenge when it works and you can get them comfortable, and get them enjoying themselves and forgetting that they're getting their picture taken and just enjoying themselves. That's really, really fun.
yeah, yeah. I can't stress enough like how much knowing the process, knowing the gear, the technical side is second nature, so that you can do those things that take it the extra step. Because I'm sure there's plenty of people in your position who they don't care and they just take it, and it's like, I bet you personally pull out the best in people, and that's what makes you great. And the same in all different photography fields. Like if you just go there and perform the technical side of it and don't take it to that next level, like there's just a lot of room to take it.
Yeah. Yeah. I can say that, I don't know how that phrase works, but something like 10,000, got to do something 10,000 times until you're a master or whatever. But when you're new and you're fighting with the technology, when you're taking a picture, then that's what you're thinking about when you're taking a picture. But when the technology is second nature, then you're not thinking about the technology. You're
Yeah,
not thinking about how to get the amount of light onto the sensor or getting it in focus. You're thinking about the story.
yeah,
And every good photograph is you manipulating something to more effectively tell the right story at the right time.
right.
And you can't do that if you're struggling with the technology. So it's really important to put the time in to learn learn the craft. It's just can't be overstated. And the fun thing about photography is the way a camera works is you can learn one part of it at a time. You can take 1,000 pictures in TV just to see what does changing the shutter speed do artistically
Right.
before you even understand how exposure works.
Right.
And then the same for AV, for playing around with aperture. And then you can start, if you want to start working in manual and learning that part of it, controlling everything at the same time. um, I mean, that's really cool. I mean, I would imagine all the other artistry fields out there, I don't know of any others, but painting or whatever,
Yeah.
everything just has to make sense at once, I guess. I don't know, but photography is fun because the camera can take over for a lot of it when you're not quite there, or maybe you're not, that's just not important to you to learn that. But when when you can put it all in manual and it doesn't stress you out, the art part of photography is much more enjoyable. Just put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. Well, awesome. This is a beautiful thing. If there's anyone who's looking to, pursue this type of photography, do you have any advice, or can I just put those links and they can kind of reach out or, check things out?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So if you're interested in preschool photography, that's okay, we'll share that link. That's great. Um, and if you want to get a mentor, a formal mentor, I highly recommend getting in the PPA, becoming a member of PPA, and then just getting on the forum and starting a relationship with somebody on there, and just asking one of the people who's a master on there. That's the level after becoming certified professional photographer. Asking somebody on there to be your formal mentor, and it might cost money, or you might have a trade of time. That's what I did with my mentor. I was his editor, and he paid me by the hour. But then when I asked them to mentor me, he paid me less by the hour, and then
Okay.
he formally mentored me in the editing, but also in the photography. And then we photographed one wedding a year while he was mentoring me. I flew up to Michigan, and he flew down to Georgia to photograph weddings together. Um, yeah, so there's a lot of avenues to you could take for different ways, but yeah, take a lot of pictures and either take a formal training program. I know colleges do a great job at that because they have people who have done this their whole lives who are teaching the classes.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's a great avenue too. I don't have any experience with it, but go through some avenue and be purposeful in learning the craft, and however you're going to do that, which is going to involve you enjoying it and going out and just taking lots of pictures.
Yeah. Sweet. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, man. We covered a
Yep.
lot of stuff, but hopefully this gives people some direction and, who knows, inspires someone to take a look at this really cool opportunity that you've been doing over the years.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks so much. And we will
Thanks,
see
Bill.
you all next time.
Okay.
Bye.